Hi, I'm Adam and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to be answering a question which I received in my last video, which is from Warren Elson. I would like to see a video or hear about how you have adopted to being back home as opposed to touring, the good and the bad of settling down. Thank you for that question, Warren, and I think that's a great question, and it's also quite a timely one. It's 11 months since I finished the journey. This time last year I was in Mississippi. I was about to start cycling down to New Orleans, to Louisiana, so I'm on my last few days of the bike trip really. It feels like a long time ago since I was cycling, but then again it also feels like it was just yesterday. Heading down through Mississippi, Louisiana, I didn't know those days were going to be my last. Even when I got to New Orleans, I bought some stuff ready for Mexico. I bought some shoes and like sandal shoes, and was very much in the mindset that I'm not finishing. And even when I came back to the UK in December, I had in my mind that I'll come back and maybe go off again. And that was really the plan, was to go back to the UK, earn some money. I'd got a job, so that was part of it. I got this job which seemed to be quite flexible on the face of it, but in reality it wasn't that flexible. I was doing contract work and working in Kenya and working in the UK, and I suppose that I really enjoyed the work. And then the pandemic happened. It changed everything. In February, March, I booked a flight in January to go to Australia. I booked it via China. How crazy does that sound now? Just book a flight to Australia via China. Two countries I'd very much struggle to get into now. I've no chance. And that was the plan, was to go to Australia and work there, hopefully, and see how it goes. Even though I'd got this job that I started in January, that was a loose plan, and I booked a return ticket to Australia, so I thought I'll go to Australia for 2 weeks, see one of my best mates that lives in Australia, and then come home to the UK, and then in a few months' time, because I'd have a year-long working visa, I could go again. And at the time, that was all my focus was to be able to travel. I'd paid for rent in a house in January that was 6 months fully furnished, on the idea I'm going to buy no furniture, stay here for 6 months, make some money and go again. So COVID changed everything. But equally, so did my life goals and aims. When I was on the bike trip, my aim was to keep going, and I had a real purpose on the bike trip. It was to make films, to make these videos, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the daily cycling and how that just gave me so much enjoyment. Meeting new people, being invited to barbecues or being invited into people's homes, and saying goodbye was always horrible. I hated that. But really, this video, I want to answer that question. I'm going to talk through first the benefits of coming home, and then I'm going to go on to the negatives of being back in the UK. And I wrote a couple of lists here. And look, and real good side is the benefits is longer than the cons. So the first thing I'm going to lead this with is the biggest benefit to being back in the UK or being back home after a bike trip is being able to see my son. Not many of you will know this, but I have a 7, very soon to be 8-year-old son. He's called Max, and he's absolutely amazing. He's super intelligent. He's the kindest, most polite young lad that I've ever met. And when I was away, his mother and I, we were never in a relationship, and she's been bringing up Max quite often, mainly without me being in the UK, to be honest. I was in the army, so I was based in Cyprus for 3 years of his life. I lived in Germany, I was based in Egypt at one point, and then a lot of exercises and everything else whilst I was away. So I was never fully present in his life. I was always there in the background, I suppose, and would see him when I could. But I was never changing the dirty nappies. I was never really that involved in that sense. So I always wanted to be in his life though, and really made made an effort to be in his life as much as at the time when he was born. It was definitely something that wasn't planned, and something that at the time I struggled with personally. But as I've got older and as I went on the bike trip, I see Max flourish and grow into this amazing guy, amazing young lad. And his mother's done an amazing job. She's an absolute star. And yeah, my hat's off completely to her, because she's got the hardest job in the world. Whilst I was enjoying myself cycling around, she was raising our son, and I wasn't there. So I would send him videos and I'd speak to him, but I wasn't there to be there in person. And when I came home, I wanted to rectify that. I wanted to be in his life, and I'm really thankful that his mother has been super supportive with allowing me to be in his life. And yeah, tomorrow actually I'm off to go see Max. So that's I see him every other week, and I thoroughly look forward to every time I see him. And we go climbing and we talk about Pokemon and we do our little adventures, and it's really good. So that's the biggest benefit. Like, scrap everything else, I suppose I'm there to be able to be in my son's life, which these years are precious. Moving on from that is my family and friends. They're a close second, but yeah, seeing my parents, seeing my sister, like about 3-4 weeks ago, I helped my sister move house. I have a van, so I filled my van with all her stuff and did 6 shuttles between my hometown and new town she's moved to, which was 30 minutes drive. So it was an hour there and back, and did it, yeah, for the day 6 times. So that's 6 hours of driving and then all the unloading, and it was amazing. For me to do that, Katie, my girlfriend, again, another benefit of being back is being able to have a relationship with somebody, as opposed to when you're on the road. Very difficult to build a new relationship if you're single. But yeah, being able to do that and be with family, that was what I missed, I suppose, on the bike trip. And I'm again super fortunate that I have a supportive and really, really, yeah, beautiful family. Community, something I've been really keen to build, having seen it all over the world. Community is key for people's enjoyment and happiness, and for me that means being involved with things that matter to local people. It's early days for myself. I've been in Skipton now for about 5 months, coming up to, and I've joined a running club. I go swimming, wild swimming in the river, and I go to the gym. That's really as far as my community, like, really involvement goes at the moment, but I would like to get more involved in the future. But that's also being able to have workmates and people that I meet and see on a regular basis. I value that, and it's something that my old workmates, we definitely still connect and still talk a lot, so having that is a definite benefit. Making the most of what the UK has to offer. I've been on a few bike trips in the UK now since I've been back. I've driven up to Scotland earlier this year, went up to Ben Nevis for the first time. I went to Wales, went to Anglesey in Snowdonia with my girlfriend, and yeah, brilliant. And we go swimming, which I've just made a video about today. We do that now and again, and it's getting cold now, so it's getting really cold. Doing all that in the UK is brilliant, and I think when you're in the UK you take it for granted. And I've not spent much time in the last 5 years. I've spent a year and a half in the UK, so yeah, for me it seems brilliant to be back and to really make the most of it. Especially in lockdown, with all the businesses closed. In reality, for me, my day-to-day life changes very little, because the things I like to do, bar going to the gym, is generally being outdoors. And I think something I touched on was the look that I wrote, the look of stopping before the pandemic. I stopped in December. I had no idea what was to happen in the next 3-4 months. If I'd have continued on the bike, I'd have had to have stopped. Would probably be in Mexico or Central America, and would most likely have come home with no job, no money. The YouTube money would have likely have dried up, and my personal funds were low at that point. So I'd have struggled, I think. I've managed recently to get a new job. I went from the job I started in January, worked in that for 10 months, and basically I've taken what is effectively a promotion, and I'm still going to be working in Kenya, and I'm going to be doing that. The contract's due to run for the next 5 years, and that's my job now, is to work with the army as a civilian in Kenya. Super looking forward to getting involved with this project. I next go to Kenya in early 2021, which extremely looking forward to it, and it's adding a lot more stability to my life as well. Having a job which I'm salaried, I'm no longer a contractor, really makes a lot of difference to just my general well-being of and mental and financial security. It means these are all serious questions, serious words I would never have said on the bike trip. Financial security, I'd have been like, stuff it. But that's my next point, is being able to plan for the future. To plan for the future, I need to have some sort of financial security, and by planning for the future means I would love to own a house. I'd love to have money for when I'm a pensioner, when I'm in my 60s. At the moment, I don't have that set up, and I'm in my early 30s and still have the time and work time to do that, as well as enjoying adventures when I can. So that's really something that it means something to me now. Now I've gone and enjoyed an adventurous, crazy 18 months on the bike. I'm now in a mind where I actually want to work and work hard, earn some money whilst I can, and hopefully put some money into a pension and maybe even buy a house. So if I ever go on a bike trip again in the future, I never want to come back from a bike trip with nothing. And that's basically what I did. I sold everything. I went on a bike trip with my then wife, and my marriage ended, and I had no house, I had nothing, and came home. And on my first day home back in the UK, I was sleeping on my younger brother's bedroom floor, which was a bit of a reality check of where my life was in that moment. And it was super kind of him to allow me to sleep there, but as a 32-year-old, 32, sleeping on that floor was not, it's 31, sorry, doesn't matter, but sleeping on that floor was kind of like, where am I? This isn't where I want to be in life. And yeah, talking to Katie, my girlfriend, who also went away on a bit longer than me, 2 years on a bike trip and walking the length of New Zealand and the UK. She also came back with nothing. So I think that's something we've both been able to really connect with, is we've both gone away, done something life-changing, and now we want to build for our future. And hopefully, yeah, that's going to be together. And we'll obviously see how life takes us, and life has twists and turns, but that's what I would like. And the last thing, which is no minor point, but it's something that definitely worth mentioning, is I've stopped drinking since I came back. I don't think I'd have stopped drinking if I'd have been on the bike trip still. I always felt alcohol was a social lubricant. Whenever you're cycling through Southeast Asia, you'll get offered the odd shot here and there. America's quite good at people offering you beers all the time. And I always said yes, every time, and then would usually join them for parties and so on. It was okay, it's fine, but really, when I came home, I struggled with it, and I've made a separate video about that, but I struggled with drinking too much, ultimately. I'm now on, I think, day 204 or 5 since I stopped drinking, which for me is a big achievement. It's something I never thought I'd do. And to be honest, it's something I always thought I never need to do. I'm fine, I don't need to stop drinking. But when I came home and I was drinking far too much, just trying to adapt to being not on the bike trip, I wasn't all that happy when I initially finished. I was quite down, if I'm honest. And the main reason I think I was down was I had no purpose. My purpose had kind of been taken away from me. My purpose previously was so driven and so focused, and now I was filling that purpose with alcohol to make me happy. but it ultimately does not make you happy. It makes you quite sad, quite the opposite, and it just numbs the emotions that you have. So yeah, I've made a whole video about me not drinking anymore, so I don't want to go into that too much, but that's a really big positive for me coming home and adapting. So there are all the benefits, that's all the good stuff. The negatives of coming home. It's the daily excitement. Being in the UK and working every single day, is how I describe it is normal life is like this as far as emotions. You get your highs and your lows and your highs. On a bike trip, your highs and your lows are like this. It's and you have lows. Now, bike trip isn't all amazing. Like, you have some proper down times. Like, for me, the biggest low was my marriage crumbling. But that could have happened at any time. It could be as minor as, I say minor, but it's quite like as 4 spokes on the rear wheel on your bike breaking in the very much isolation of Alaska, north of the Arctic Circle, with no means to repair and not knowing what you're going to do. There's quite a low when you're at that point. Or if you fall off your bike. I fell off my bike and I've got little tiny scar here, which I did in Oregon. That was quite close. And yeah, those lows are low. And when Lucia fell off her bike, that was, I think, the lowest point of the whole journey. That moment, yeah, it was terrible. That the fear and the worry that she could die. And knowing that, them excitements and the daily adrenaline that you can have in the lows, the highs are high. Like, there's nothing better sometimes than a beautiful mountain view at sunrise or sunset, and it's a new view, or some that sounds so pretentious, but it is true. There's or equally somebody inviting you in for food that appears to not have much in their life, and be it in remote Thailand or Laos, and somebody saying, or China, come in and share some food with us. It's amazing. And all them experiences and all them people I met is probably my next point. Is I've met so many new people. Chris Panaski, Larry and Lisa in Alaska. So many people through America, like so many people, and Canada. I made some really good friends in Canada on Haida Gwaii and down through Vancouver, and seeing old friends in Vancouver in the likes of Eddie Russell, or going down to Japan with Anna. It was all amazing. I loved every moment, and meeting those people, even now I can feel the emotions of all those people that just really made me really happy. Didn't expect to feel that just then. That's emotions. Oh, damn it, I'm really good at hiding them normally. But yeah, those people I made those connections with. I miss them, if I'm honest. But you miss them instantly, even if I was still on the bike. All those people that you meet that are so kind to you, and they're really friendly. They're like, I'm really rubbish with emotions, don't like showing them, normally. Yeah, so, Larry and Lisa, in particular, in Alaska, they put me up after I'd spent 10 days cycling from the top of Alaska down to Fairbanks, and it's one of my favourite memories of the whole trip. And Lisa, earlier this year, had a stroke, which was really, really hard to hear when you're really far away. I didn't expect this today. It was really hard to hear when you're really far away. And luckily, she's got family with her that were brilliant, and I've not been able to really fully catch up with her and see how she's doing. But she recently sent me a message saying that she's back on the exercise bike and she's managing to be mobile again, which meant so much to Larry and Lisa. And these two people are like, these two people are like the kindest people in the world. And that's why it's quite emotional, is because when you meet these extremely kind and wonderful people whilst you're travelling, and then you hear about things that happen with them, you feel just like you can't do much about it. So I suppose anyway, if I'd have continued on the bike, it'd have been the same. But yeah, I wish if Lisa or Larry happened to be watching this, I really saw you guys as like, and do still see you guys as really best friends at that when I was with you and still now. So yeah, let's go on to something lighter. Fitness. I'm just gonna take a drink. Oh God. Whew. Fitness. Right. In 2020, this year. So this year I've managed to do a lot less exercise than I did in 2019. In 2020, I've looked on Strava, managed to track all my cardiovascular activities, so cycling and running basically. And in 2020, I've done 130 hours of exercise so far, and it's November, so more or less there at the end of the year. In 2019, I did 791 hours of cycling, almost exclusively, which is a big difference, obviously. Now, something which is quite interesting is how many activities I've done. So this year I've done over 100 so far this year, whereas last year I think it was 200 plus, which is a bit lower than I thought, considering, yeah, so basically 1 in 2 days I was cycling last year, whereas it's 1 in 3 days, about a bit less, that I've done any exercise this year. It means I feel less fit. I was at peak fitness last year, particularly Japan, getting into Alaska. Peak fitness, and that meant I was able to eat whatever I wanted, and I did. I ate and drank whatever I wanted, and now I can't, and I need to taper that because I've definitely put on some weight. I'm probably back to where I was when I started the journey. So I'd love to go on an 18-month bike tour to lose a lot of weight, but I can't do that at the moment. So I just need to do what normal people do and exercise and work hard. The last point I'm going to finish this video with is whenever you finish a big journey like I did, coming home, it's never easy for anyone. And if it is easy, like hats off to you, but for everyone I've spoke to, they've all struggled. And generally, I think the struggle comes from lack of purpose when they come home. They often cite things like people don't relate to them, or they don't relate to other people, or people don't understand how they feel. And I think that a lot of people describe what you did as a holiday. I'm telling you now, like, holiday, fine. If you see it that way, that's cool. But for me, it was just life. It was 18 months of my life where I was doing something which is a bit different. I was traveling and cycling. I was voluntarily without a home, and I packed everything on a bicycle and travelled like that and lived like that for 18 months. Now, it changes your values and it changes things that you care about. Now I don't care for getting a nice fancy car on finance. I don't care particularly for a lot of like really consumeristic things, and my real cares are for being outdoors, being healthy and being with family. For sure, I like to live somewhere nice, but really I care about where is it situated. And I want to be somewhere rural, but with access to a town. And yeah, for me, coming home when I lacked purpose when I came home, and I've been trying to redefine what's my purpose. If it's short term, if it's long term, and we can have multiple purposes. And at the moment, my purpose is to be a great role model to my son. My purpose is to really just build a career. That sounds so rubbish as a purpose, but to try and build a career that fulfills me and makes me happy, and with that career adds benefit to wider people. And I feel like I do that with what I do. And then there's these videos, which are a constant, they're a big part of my life. I go at times where I don't make as many, but being able to connect with people that I've never met all over the world that share a similar message or a similar interest. For you to be watching this to this point, we share an interest. So yeah, if you find you're struggling from coming home, or you're thinking about going away on a big long bike trip, I implore you to do it. If you think you need to do it and you're putting it off for a reason that's not extremely serious, and you're putting it off because you're scared, go and do it. Go and do the bike trip. Take the risk. It's the best thing I've ever done in my life. I spent what would have been a deposit on a house in the United Kingdom, so I spent probably about 20 grand total. Well, that was when we started the journey as a couple. We had £20,000, and so I probably spent about £15,000 by the end of the journey, and that's the best investment I've ever spent on myself in my life. I think doing it at 30 years old was a great time in my life to do it. If you're younger and you want to do it, do it. Like, the younger the better, but really do it in a way which makes you happy. Don't worry about social media. Don't worry about Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. If you're going to make videos or you're going to do that, do it to enhance your enjoyment and I think be true to yourself. But by that I mean do what you want to do. Don't worry about what other people think you should do. And ultimately that leads to you being happiest, I think. Yeah. I'm still working on defining my purpose for the future. I think at the moment I'm just trying to enjoy, and I am enjoying every day of being home and being in the UK. I'm enjoying living in Yorkshire. I'm enjoying having a girlfriend and the new relationship. Relatively, it's like, I think about 6 months, 7 months we've been together. So being able to enjoy that, and like I said, Max, being able to enjoy the time with him. I hope that answers your question. And I was a bit surprised I got a bit emotional in the middle there. Wasn't expecting that. Bit of a different video, but thanks for, again, everyone for watching. And if you want to watch some of my journey, what video would I recommend today? If I was you, I would go to Japan. The Japanese videos I made, I don't feel, when I made them, not many people are like, oh yeah, your Japan videos, they're good. Most people kind of brush over the Japan videos, whereas I love the Japanese videos. A bit harder because I was not talking to as many people with the language barrier, but some of the Japan videos are some of my favourite videos I made. But yeah, I'll put a little playlist to the probably Korea and Japan videos. Go and watch them, and I will see you on the next one. If you've got any more questions or anything else you'd like to know, drop me a comment, and if it's a good one, I'll get back and I'll make a video and hopefully not get a bit emotional midway through. Right, see you next time.